How can I start developing consistency like you did with your 90-day focus? Okay. Many of you want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you the syllabus that I used. I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. This is the framework that I used. All right. Can y'all see it? Did I share it right? Okay, perfect. So here's the framework that I used. The very first thing that I did is I decided that I was going to do 3 books over 90 days and I was going to stay on the same topic. So I wasn't going to bounce around. I was going to, if consistency was the medication that I needed, consistency was what I was going to use. All right. So I would stay on that same exact topic. I would find books on that topic. I would then dedicate 2 execution hours per book. Okay. Because while you can read a book for leisure, okay, you sit at the beach and you read your leisure books. That's really not how you should be reading a productivity book or a self-development book. You have to carve out time where you're going to execute on what you learn. So if you know you're reading a few pages a day, then you probably need every week, you need to be carving out time. Like, how am I now taking what I learned and I'm going to make sure that I execute on what I learned? And so you have to do that. So you want to make sure you have execution hours. If your primary goal right now, because I was using this for a personal development tool, if your primary goal right now is spiritual development, you're just going to be rocking with the reflect formula and you're going to stay right there in the pocket in the word. All right. But I was also working on some personal development things because y'all might be a lukewarm mess. Okay. I was boiling over. I was a hot mess. All right. So I needed intensity to be able to transform myself. If I was babying myself and just whenever you get time, Tiff, if you could work on your personal development, I would not be the person I am before you today. So I had to turn up the intensity on myself because I'm naturally rebellious. By rebellious is what's the rules y'all following? I want to do the opposite. I'm naturally that way. So I have to overly check myself. Okay, we're going to submit ourselves to God. You don't get to do what Tiffany wants to do. Okay, so I know y'all not as bad as me as I was 11 years ago. All right. Look what we have here. If you're the type of person that have just stood on business about the fact that you love doing things on your own and that when you bring somebody in, they just mess it up. And if you want something done right, you just got to do it yourself. If you've been saying that, then it's contradictory. That means you've been standing flat foot looking at the kingdom of heaven and calling God a liar, because in his word, he says that in Deuteronomy 32:30, he says 1 can chase 1,000. That's one person. That's what you can do, chasing 1,000. But 2 could put 10,000 to flight. And the Hebrew definition of flight means to cause to disappear. And it was with that revelation that I said, God, when I think about your math, that it disrupts. It breaks the rules. It's mind-boggling and supernatural. I begin to realize that I've been seeing his math over my whole life. I've been seeing this formula over my whole life. And 10,000 things have disappeared because I have linked up with just one more person. And so I want to teach you how to do this God's way, because you can't get God's math without God. So I want to show you, how do you get God's +1? And how do you make sure you're fortified for your +1 so that you can get the most out of what he's saying and his promises? So if you're ready for supernatural breakthrough, it's time to get your copy of God's Math, the book today. This book will change the way that you think about success. Stop struggling, start multiplying. God's Math is your key to divine increase. I'll see you soon. But if as I'm talking, you like shaking your head like this, because I like to rebel like that too, then I need you to just stay on one topic. Okay, I need you to stay on one topic. So here we go. So we got our execution hours for the book. I would do podcasts, YouTube channels, anybody that their mastery is consistency, or their whatever it was. My first one was consistency. The next one I did was financial. I wanted to just get a reset on anything I thought I understood about finances. I wanted to act like I didn't know nothing. Just teach me from the ground up on how to manage my finances. And so that's what I did. So my first one was consistency. So all the podcasts, YouTube channels I was watching, I wanted to hear about it. If you had a nice series on it, maybe your podcast is about a different topic, but you did a series on consistency, I was locked in. Books that were known to teach you that, I would grab those books. Live training and seminars. If there was somebody and that was the topic, I'm on the seminar. I also would lock in with a mentor, and a mentor didn't necessarily mean, they're a coach. It could mean my most accountability type of friend I had. hey, this is something I want to be consistent in. I want to do this every single day. Can you just be my accountability partner? Because I want to be consistent in this thing. And then you just pick somebody, like the first person you thought of, like, I really wouldn't want to pick them. They're going to be super annoying. That's probably the person. That's probably the person you want to pick. The person you know ain't going to cut you no slack on whatever you want to be consistent about. And so that was what I would do for 90 days. But here's the challenge that most people have. I did it on one topic. One topic. You say, why would I be able to do that? I'm going to tell you why. Because you're going to do it for 30 days and you're going to have read the book and put the application hours in and listen to so many podcasts and went to a live thing and did accountability with your accountability partner. And you're going to say to yourself, I got it. I got it. I can switch topics now. I'll be able to get through 12 topics in a year at this rate. I'll be able to switch. And it's like, no, 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 no. You're literally trying to reprogram yourself. And depending on how old you are, that's how many years that you've been programmed to do it your way, that you've been programmed to think how you think. So I want you to understand you have to reprogram yourself. It takes time. And sometimes it's just like an antibiotic. They say you got to take the full prescription. You got to take the full, you but I'm feeling better. I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Back. I was just dancing there. No, but take the full prescription, because what happens is you've killed enough of the bacteria where you don't feel symptoms. It doesn't mean you killed all the bacteria. And so when you stop taking it, then it just builds right back up and then it's back like it never left. So what you have to do is you have to take the full prescription, because even once the cells start dying and you don't feel symptoms anymore, it doesn't mean they're completely dead. So you want that to make sure all bacteria is dead. So that's the reason why when you do the 90-day syllabus, even when you feel like you got it, even when you feel like a superhero, even when you feel like I'm about to be a millionaire, I'm so good at this, even when you feel like that, you have to now still keep taking it until that thing is dead. All right. And so that's what I did for the 90-day syllabus. Now I know what you're saying. Okay, Tiff, I'll do 45 days then. I'll do 40. I'll do 60. But I'm okay. I'm a multi seven figure earner and I did 90 days. So I would just do what I did. Okay. Because guess what? When I start feeling away or I start feeling like I'm slipping and I need to get something in check, I go right back to this formula. This is 11 years later. I said, I need to do 90 days on this. I just need to lock in for not forget this little 2 week, 21 day, 30 day. I'm too hard headed for that. I need to lock in on this topic for 90 days. Okay. So that is what I did. When you hear me talk about the 90-day intervals, that's what I did in great detail. Okay.